the four.
Do you have a gardening problem? We can help you with that. A program dedicated to help you grow a better garden, maintain your landscape, grow healthier trees, make that grass look a little bit greener, as well as preserving what you grow. We're here to help you with your gardening problem. You're tuned in to Garden Talk Radio.
You are listening to the most informational-packed hour of garden-focused radio in the country and on the internet with your host, husband and wife team Joey and Holly Baird. This is the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show.
Welcome to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com. Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us to talk gardening for the next hour. Whether you're listening through one of our radio stations, one of the 16 stations carrying our program this year, in 2020, a radio app, or through our website, and that website is the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com under the Season 4 tab at the top of the page. I am your host, Joy Baird. Beside me is my wife, co-host, best friend, and gardening partner,
Holly Baird.
The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is a program about you, for you, to help your garden grow better, to have healthier trees, to maintain your landscape, your yard, indoors and out, as well as preserving what you grow. There's a number of ways in which you can get a hold of us during the program. You can send us an email at gardentalkradio@gmail.com. That's gardentalkradio@gmail.com anytime, and we will get you the answer that you're looking for to help you with your problem. You can send us a tweet. Our Twitter handle is at TWVG Show or hashtag TWVG. You can find us on Facebook, the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener. You can also call us anytime, 1-800-927-SHOW. That's 1-800-927-SHOW, 1-800-927-SHOW. And we'll respond back to you during the show, after the show, whenever you want to call. We've got a big show lined up for you today. We're going to be talking about the 4 biggest garden myths that seem to have popped up on social media and among a lot of gardening enthusiasts, and we're going to go over those. That's in segment 1. In segment 2, we're going to talk about growing berry bushes. And our guest this week, he is the host of the James Prigioni YouTube channel. He will be with us and will answer your garden questions. So let's get into the program and start talking about the biggest garden myths that are on social media.
So one of the 4 biggest garden myths is that potato towers that you see oftentimes on Pinterest, that you can grow 100 pounds of potatoes in 4 square feet.
Well, this is a big myth because there's no way that the way it's designed is you build a box 2 foot by 4 foot, so you have 4 square feet. 2 by 4s is the corner post. Then you have like 3-inch slats that as the potato tower develops or the potatoes grow, you put these slats or you nail these slats on, and then you backfill with compost or soil. And then as the potato grows or the vine grows, the theory or the misconception is that everywhere that stem will touch soil, more roots will develop and more tubers will form. Well, that's simply not the case. There is no potato known to man that will do such a thing. They will develop in a certain depth of the potato, 6-7 inches at maximum, at the base of the plant, like where you plant the actual seed potato. And beyond that, the vine can grow 30 feet, and it doesn't matter how much soil you put on it or where it's around. It's not going to develop any more tubers. You'll see hundreds of videos online about building potato boxes. Oh, we're going to have a great year. You have a couple of dozen of failures, and you never have any success ones because it doesn't exist. You can do this in a certain parameter. If you did a layer of potatoes, they sprouted, you put soil over top of those, and you put another layer of potatoes, then you have more of a chance. But these all potato boxes that you see online is the premise of 1 layer of potatoes at the base and then no more potatoes. And that's not how the potato plant even develops tubers. You'll see these potato towers that are made out of fencing where you have the 4-inch holes and they pack it with straw and soil, and multiple holes have multiple potatoes. That's a totally different thing. That's that produces more potatoes in a very small area. But a traditional potato box doesn't exist, and there's no functionality and no proof, and the science behind it doesn't show that it does.
So our next myth is that coffee grounds make your soil acidic. So yes, fresh coffee grounds, so say that coffee grounds that have not gone through the brewing process, those are acidic. But used coffee grounds, so once you've brewed your coffee, those are neutral. What happens is during that brewing process, those coffee grounds, the acidity goes to the coffee that we drink. The acidity does not stay in the grounds. So if you rinse your used coffee grounds, they will have a near neutral pH of 6.5 and it will not affect the acid levels of the soil. However, they do add nitrogen and they are good food for worms. So if you are lacking worms in your soil, you can definitely mix in some coffee grounds, probably about a 5-gallon bucket per like every 15 square feet.
You don't have to rinse the coffee grounds. That's just what some people recommend, which I don't understand. But
if you get them from like a coffee shop or even your own, you can put the filters in there too. Those filters will break down fairly quickly.
The MPK of coffee grounds, used coffee grounds, brewed coffee grounds, it's about 2% nitrogen, 0.3% potassium phosphate is about the same as well. So and you have to bury these. Otherwise, if you just broadcast them on the ground, it'll lose that nitrogen. That nitrogen will escape into the atmosphere and you've lost the benefit. Another thing that you can do if you have small quantities of coffee grounds is just make a little trench in your garden about a foot away from your plants, 2 or 3 inches deep, and then just sprinkle them down and cover them over. And that will help feed the soil, bring the worms in. It won't hurt the soil again at all. So people saying, oh, I've got blueberries, I'm going to put coffee grounds around the blueberries to make those blueberries more acidic. This is not the case. This doesn't work. If you want to lower the pH of your garden soil or any soil because of certain plants that require that low acidity, you can do that through sulfur. Now, it can be added, it really should be added the year before you intend to plant something in that particular place, because this transition from one pH percentage or number to another takes time in the more natural sense. Now, if you want a very quick fix, iron sulfate you can add to the soil, and this will transition your pH level or adjust it very rapidly in a 3 to 4 week period. So you need to be very cautious when applying that iron sulfate that you don't overdo it, because you can't bring it back very easily because of that sudden transition in your soil pH. And the next garden myth is
companion planting. So companion planting, you might see a lot of times on social media, whether it be like Facebook or Pinterest. Here's this companion planting chart. Here's this companion planting guide, etc. And if you look at them exclusively and together, you will see some of them will say don't plant tomatoes next to basil, or plant tomatoes next to basil, or don't plant basil next to pumpkins, or you should plant basil next to pumpkins. There's not a consistency in those companion planting charts. I don't know where they come from. I don't know if people just make them up, perhaps because of their own personal successes. However, they are simply not scientifically proven. Now, there is things like growing plants together, like polyculture, and that's when you grow plants next to each other for space-saving purposes. So a lot of people will do that. Like, for example, we started some peas in our soil, in our raised bed, and then after the peas are developed, we're going to start, and after it's time, we're going to plant some cucumbers in the same spot, and then after the peas die off, the cucumbers will grow and kind of take over that space. Now, that's not quite companion planting, it's kind of them planting together. Another concept of companion planting is something like the Three Sisters method, where you have the squash is the ground cover, the corn is the trellis for the beans, and the beans grow up the corn stalk, and then you have that method, and that is a good kind of companion planting, but it's just those plants assisting each other. There's nothing where it says like that the beans are going to feed the corn. That's not scientifically proven either, that the nitrogen in the beans are feeding the corn, which corn is a high nitrogen needing plant.
Yeah, so watch your charts. There are some relative stuff that makes sense, that you don't want to plant X plant next to Y plant because X plant attracts bugs that will attack Y plant. But yeah, not all the charts match. 30 out of 40 are different. So be aware of that.
We spend so much time indoors these days that when we do get the opportunity to go out, we cannot afford to have anything ruin it. The weather has started to warm up, and with warm weather comes mosquitoes. Mosquitoes have ruined your barbecue, a trip to the playground, and countless other outdoor activities, and they don't have to.
Holly and I are excited to host a Spartan Mosquito giveaway for 3 listeners each week to win some product by Spartan Mosquito. We will announce the winners at the end of each week on Facebook. Enter to win by emailing gardentalkradio@gmail.com. In the subject line, put winner. You must be 18 years or older, living in the contiguous United States where products are state approved. Radio show and podcast listeners are eligible. For all details, go to the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and click on the Spartan Mosquito tab at the top of the page. This week's contest ends Friday, May 22nd, 2020 at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can claim your prize as soon as it is announced on Facebook. If you do not claim your prize within 5 days, we will announce a new winner. Thank you, Spartan Mosquito, for participating with the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener for this giveaway to our listeners. And now, the final garden myth. It's if you add rocks to the bottom of a container, it will allow the container to drain better. This is a terrible thing to do, whether you're adding rocks or cans or styrofoam or wood chips or whatever material at the bottom of a bucket. Now, what I'm saying is this does not apply if you have a 3-foot tall vase at the doorway of the house that you're putting something in the bottom to take some of that material away that you don't have to fill it with.
Especially if you're just planting annual flowers in that decorative vase. Yes. Then
we're talking 5-gallon buckets or,
right.
Yeah, this type of thing.
Or like just a regular terracotta pot that you're growing some cucumbers in. You don't want to put, 4 to 6 inches of gravel or whatever at the bottom. You want to fill it up with soil.
This myth never dies. You see this a lot on Facebook, on videos. Oh, we're going to add some gravel to the bottom of the container. Don't do it. Now, the reason why you do not want to do it, now we'll explain here. Water, you put gravel, it makes, you put gravel in the bottom of the container for drainage. You got the drainage holes anyway. Well, what happens is now you put 2 inches of gravel at the bottom of that container. Then you put 8 inches of soil on top of that gravel, and instead of having a 10-inch pot, now you have an 8-inch pot with 2 inches of gravel, and the roots will grow to the gravel, and that's it. It hurts the roots more than anything.
Right. So that's the thing, is that the roots will then hit that gravel, they'll stop growing, and then the plant can become stunted at that point. So you want to use a well-draining soil. Something that has a potting mix is good, especially if you're in containers, because it's going to have something like perlite or vermiculite, which helps add to the drainage of that soil. Also, something that has a little bit of sand in it will help that drainage as well. And that way you don't have to worry about it. It's not going to have a problem with the drainage.
Yeah, instead of preventing the roots from setting in the water of the container base, the gravel simply moves that pool of water higher up in the pot, where it can now do more damage to those roots.
When you have that gravel there, the water can pool, and then the roots go into that pool of water, and then it causes problems for the roots. So when you have a properly draining soil, you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to worry about putting gravel or...
But don't do it anyway.
Yeah.
Just have proper material in your container, and don't dig soil up you dug out, from the garden or the ditch or whatever, because that's problematic because it's not fluffy and loose. And these container plants need that very loose soil in order to grow correctly.
If you're super concerned, maybe you don't think that the container mix you have, the potting soil mix, whatever, doesn't look right. When you plant it, you can grab like a bag of perlite, grab a couple handfuls, mix it in if you think that it needs better drainage. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to our show. This is our 11th show of 2020. Did you miss last week's show? We talk about best crops to grow in containers, vine crops in your garden, and our guest was garden author Melinda Myers. Now you can listen to our show by going to your favorite podcast platform and searching the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Podcast, or we can even take one step out of it for you, make it easier. You can send us an email to gardentalkradio@gmail.com, put in the subject line show 10, and we will send you the link. We will be right back. Do not go anywhere. We'll be talking about growing berry bushes. You are listening to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, a program to help you grow a better garden, maintain your landscape, help your trees grow better, make that grass look greener, and preserving what you grow for indoor and out.
You can bet the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardeners phone lines are always jammed during the show. So Joey and Holly keep their phone lines open 24/7 to help you. Call anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-7469. Or just remember 1-800-927-SHOW. SHOW. Leave a message and they will call you back.
If you love growing tomatoes, then you've got to try Tomato Secret by Dr. Jim. At the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener, we stand behind Tomato Secret and recommend it to all gardeners who would easily like to grow higher quality tomatoes with more color, more flavor, and less bugs and disease. Tomato Secret is specifically designed to grow high quality tomatoes that is made with 12 natural ingredients, so pure that you can feed it to a cow. Simply apply 1 cup in the hole at planting and sprinkle 1 cup around the plant after 1 month. That is all it takes for the best tomatoes on earth. With this product, you do not have to guess what is wrong with your tomato plant because it has everything your plants need to be healthy and produce the most delicious fruit. You'll never grow tomatoes the same again. Grow the largest, juiciest, and most delicious tomatoes on earth. To find out more about Tomato Secret and other products, visit drjims.com. That's drjimz.com.
The Simply Solar Greenhouse is a one-piece molded fiberglass greenhouse that is easy to install and maintain. Multiple sizes available. Check them all out at migreenhouse.com.
Protect your plants against damage with a 3-in-1 plant guard and special blend fertilizer. Visit ivorganics.com. Trim Bin turns any chair into a workstation. Comfortably sort your herbs, dried flowers, cannabis, and more. Easily collect pollen with a static brush and mirror finish collection tray. High walls keep your work contained. To get yours, visit harvest-more.com. Made in California. Dig planting holes from a comfortable standing position. Step, twist, pull, and plant. Visit ProPlugger.com.
Do not go anywhere. There is more of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show to come, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com.
Brought to you by Blue Ribbon Organics, providing locally made organic compost and soil blends for gardens, farms, landscaping, and more. Visit BlueRibbonOrganics.com or call 262-497-8539 to find their products nearest you. Ship Drop is a website. You can sign up for free wood chip mulch delivery right to your door. For free, Ship Drop connects homeowners and gardeners with tree services who are trying to get rid of their wood chips. You can also sign up to get free logs and firewood. Go to chipdrop.com to learn more and sign up for a free account. Deer Defeat is an all-natural repellent to keep deer, rabbits, and groundhogs away from your precious plants. Deer Defeat protects your plants day and night, dries clear, and odorless. It will not clog your sprayer. Deer Defeat works for 30 days through rain, snow, and freeze. Safe, effective, and works on rabbits. Money-back guarantee. To purchase, go to deerdefeat.com and use code RADIO to save 10% on your order. Deer Defeat, it can't be beat. Responsible watering, accurate, fast, and efficient. Earth conscious. Visit waterhoop.com.
Blue Mel's Garden and Landscape Center offers an awesome selection of high-quality garden and landscape products. We have just the plants you're looking for: annuals, perennials, veggies, herbs, and more. Plus, you can always count on us to answer all of your questions and offer expert advice. Blue Mel's also carries the largest selection of bulk landscape materials in the area. Enjoy a beverage from our coffee shop while your kids run around in our huge playground. Join our growing list of highly satisfied customers. Visit the garden center that offers everything you're looking for. Visit Blue Mel's today.
Blue Mel's, 4930 West Loomis Road, 414-282-4220. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Phylum BioProducts, Spartan Mosquito, Dr. Jim's, Nasala Kombucha, MI Greenhouse LLC, Green Gobbler, Water Hoop, Seed Savers Exchange. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com. Now here are your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. We're going to get into growing berry bushes. Now, everybody wants berry bushes in their property. Some people are able to have them. Other people are not. We are still debating that for the new transition of our garden. So there's some things that people need to know about berry bushes before they just go to their garden center, purchase them in a pot, or buy a bunch online, bare roots. And we'll talk about what that term means momentarily.
Like maybe you should know what currants taste like.
Yeah, you know what currants taste like. So first of all berry plants, excluding blueberries, are basically okay to plant in your native soil. Blueberries are the exception. Blueberries need a pH in the soil of 4 to 5.5, and you can do this finding out what your pH level in your soil is in a number of fashions. You can go and send your soil off to get it tested to find out nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, pH level, zinc, iron, all that stuff. There are some over-the-counter soil tests at your garden center that will give you a general estimate of what that soil pH is. But if you plant blueberries,
typically your soil is not going to be at that pH just as it is.
In most parts of the country, it won't be. Now, if you do buy a blueberry plant and you plant it in the ground or in a container with regular potting soil or native soil, that plant's going to die in a couple of days or within a week or two, because it doesn't have that acidity that it needs in order to grow correctly. There are manufacturers of potting soil and mixes that do have that pH level for those type of plants, and you can find that material in most places in the country. But we talked about in the first segment, if you want to lower your pH, you can use sulfur. That can take up to a year prior to planting if you're going to do a blueberry patch, or you can use iron sulfate, which can drastically change the pH within a couple of weeks or within a month. But you want to be aware of those things, and it's not just change it now and it's good forever. You've got to continue to adjust it throughout the growing conditions.
Right. So definitely you want to know what you're getting into when it comes to growing berry plants, berry bushes, what have you. You want to know, okay, so say, for example, it says small berries. That's referring to the size of the berries.
Not the
plants. So you want to know, like, okay, if you purchase a plant, whatever the variety is, how wide, how much room is it going to take? How tall is it going to get? Just because it's called a bush doesn't mean that it's going to be like maybe like a hedge or
a shrub.
Like a shrub. You might have an 8-foot tall berry bush or end up with an 8-foot tall berry bush. You want to research if that's something that you can trim back and maintain so that it does stay smaller. So that's definitely one thing. Another thing is, if you have pets or little ones, you might want to know if it's going to have thorns or be thornless, or even for yourself, you might not want to be the one who has to pick the berries and get possibly scratched.
Now, they do have both varieties, and I don't know if I've ever told the story on this program, but my grandfather, he is 83, 84 now, and he refuses to eat blackberry pie, blackberry anything, because as a young child, he was forced to pick wash tubs. And people who are older in the generation knows that these are very large metal multi-gallon tubs of blackberries for days on end, because when he was younger, you go back 80 some odd years or 70 years, you picked and you on the farm, that was what you survived with. And he will not eat blackberries to this day because he picked so many, and it just brings back, I guess, horrible memories.
Yeah, he's talked about it. I've heard him talk about it. He doesn't seem too happy about it.
To tell the story at all.
I mean, he's probably not picked, I'm sure, those berries for at least 60 years.
Right.
He's probably like, Yeah. So
Also with these berries, they all have distinct taste, and it's just like growing vegetables. You want to know what they taste like before you put the effort in to growing this bush or shrub or whatever, and it has this unpleasant taste to you where others may find it very pleasant.
right, that's something to keep in mind. Just like Joey and I were at the garden center, and we were looking at berry plants, and he was like, "Why? What about currants?" And it's like, well, I've never had currants. How am I supposed to know what they taste like? What if we invest in some currant berry bushes, and I can't stand the taste of them? Maybe they taste like, I don't know. So like some people don't like the taste of cilantro. Same thing with berries.
And currants and gooseberries, they're more popular in Europe than they are in the United States, but it is making a come more popular here in the United States. But that's where that term comes from. And the garden center had them. So yeah, you want to be aware of some of these things. And we would like to get berry bushes, but you need to, these are not just a plant and they're done. Now, there are wild blackberry bushes and that type of thing where nature takes care of them. When we have these in our garden, we have to take care of them in order for them to produce the most that they possibly can for us, and so they don't get out of control.
There's a lot more that goes into yard work than just cutting your grass or planting a few daisies. You have to have a little passion, know a little science, and you need to be willing to keep working when the going gets tough. Make yard work a little easier for yourself.
Holly and I are excited to host a Spartan Mosquito giveaway for 3 listeners each week to win some product by Spartan Mosquito. We will announce the winners at the end of each week on Facebook. Enter to win by emailing gardentalkradio@gmail.com. In the subject line, put winner. You must be 18 years or older, living in the contiguous United States where products are state approved. Radio show and podcast listeners are eligible. For all details, go to the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and click on the Spartan Mosquito tab at the top of the page. This week's contest ends Friday, May 22nd, 2020 at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can claim your prize as soon as it is announced on Facebook. If you do not claim your prize within 5 days, we will announce a new winner. Thank you, Spartan Mosquito, for participating with the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener for this giveaway to our listeners.
So another thing to keep in mind is what else besides you might be eating those berries. So if you live in an area with a lot of wildlife that could possibly eat those berries, birds are typically the predator of the berries. You might have to invest in some sort of netting.
And they'll get them one day before they're ready to harvest for you.
Yeah, they'll get them before you can. So one thing is to keep in mind where you're putting them, but also if you might need to invest in some sort of berry netting to prevent those birds from eating them.
If you're having a very large area, you can invest in what's called a fruit cage, where it's poles and then you put this netting over top of it, and it's like a greenhouse but netting to protect your plants. And that's more for the self-pollinating berries. And there's all types of berries. There's raspberries, blackberries, gooseberries, currants, multiple color raspberries. There's a yellowish one that we saw at the garden center.
It was what was it? Yeah, yellow raspberry.
Interested in that one, as well as strawberries. Let's not forget strawberries. Strawberries are, I think, one of the easier plants you can grow. Now, they all require a specific type of planting depth-wise. If you get them bare root from your garden, from an online retailer, you want to plant them at the same depth in which they were at. And you can see this on the stem. There's like a dark zone on it where that was where the soil level was. If you get them from your garden center, plant them in the same depth in which they were at in the container. Strawberries, you want to plant them at the same depth or above the crown, because if you plant them below the crown, it actually suffocates them and they will die. So you need to follow the regulation or the instructions on these plants to the T, because number one, they're going to be there for a long time, and number two, these are not necessarily cheap plants to initially buy. It's an investment that's going to provide years and years and years of produce for you, but you got to do it right the first time in order to get them established.
Right. So that's definitely something to consider, is do your research, think about what could cause problems for your berries, and definitely make a good decision as to where to put them.
Now that the weather is starting to warm up, you will want to protect your garden from various beetles, weevils, and borers, including Japanese beetles.
And what better way to prevent these pests from destroying your garden than by controlling them while they are larvae? Grub Gone is an easy-to-apply granule product that can be spread onto your turf to successfully control grub invaders. Developed by Phylum BioProducts from a naturally occurring bacteria, Grow Begone is a non-chemical BT product that specifically targets only scarab pests, and it is safe to use around bees and other beneficial insects.
Yes, and if you already have those beetles flying around your yard, Beetle Gone is an organic water dispersible powder that you can spray directly on your edible plants. Find out more at PhylumBioProducts.com. That's PHYLLOM bioproducts.com. Do not go anywhere. The host of famous YouTube channel James Gardening with James Prigioni will be with us next.
Got a question for Joey and Holly? Send it via email anytime to gardentalkradio@gmail.com.
Planting conditions are always favorable with the Power Planter Earth Auger. No matter what the job is, Power Planter has the right size for you. Simply attach to a drill and let the Power Planter do the work for you, creating holes fast and efficiently with ease. Find the size that fits your project at powerplanter.com.
Pomona's Universal Pectin is a high-quality pectin that gels reliably with low amounts of any sweetener. If you're trying to reduce the amount of sugar in your diet, you'll love Pomona's Universal Pectin. Now you can make healthy homemade jams and jellies sweetened to your taste. You can use sugar or honey to sweeten. Pomona's Universal Pectin keeps indefinitely when stored in an airtight container. Easy to use, versatile, and comes with directions and recipes in every box. Find out more and where to buy at PomonaPectin.com. Also available at natural food stores and online.
For all your indoor growing needs, equipment, and supplies, it's WeGrowIndoors.com. Tree Ripe Citrus Company has top quality produce that comes right to your neighborhood with the freshest peaches and blueberries you'll find. To find locations, go to tree-ripe.com. Do not settle for the rest when you can have the best peaches and blueberries with Tree Ripe Citrus Company. Go to tree-ripe.com.
Hello, gardeners. It's Ann from Neptune's Harvest Organic Fertilizers in Gloucester, Mass. If you're planting flowers, vegetables, shrubs, or just trying to keep your lawn healthy and green, then you should know about Neptune's Harvest. Neptune's Harvest fertilizers come from the mineral-rich North Atlantic Ocean, which contains all the nutrients plants and soil need. Flower growers, get your sunglasses out. You'll want to use them when you're looking at how bright those colors are. Vegetable growers, with Neptune's Harvest, you can achieve the amazing results you deserve for all your efforts. You'll have the most abundant, sweet-tasting supply of organically grown produce, and there's nothing like the taste of a fresh garden tomato you grew yourself. Neptune's Harvest works so great, whether you know what you're doing or not, you'll look good, and you'll feel good, because you're doing the right thing for the environment and your health. Try Neptune's Harvest products from the ocean to set your plants in motion. Available at your local garden center, and to learn more, go to neptunesharvest.com.
Stay tuned and you can win a gallon of Neptune's Harvest Liquid Fertilizer, a $50 value, following the commercial break.
Do not go anywhere. There is more of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show to come, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com.
Oh, yeah. What you say? You say Nasala Kombucha. It'll put some glide in your stride and some pep in your step. Nasala Kombucha. Yeah.
Nasala Kombucha makes your body happy. Nasala Kombucha makes your body smile.
World's coolest raingauge.com. Need I say more? The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener radio show is brought to you by the following: Neptune Harvest, Happy Leaf LED, Dripworks, We Grow Indoors, Deer Defeat, Harvest More, Blue Ribbon Organics, Blue Mills Landscape and Garden Center, Chip Drop. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support. Blue Mills Landscape and Garden Center was hopping last Saturday when Holly and I were there. We picked up a bunch of plants and accessories for our garden. They are hopping again today, and they're open from 9 to 5 Monday through Saturday and 9 to 3 on Sunday. You can find them at 4930 West Loomis Road, just off of Layton in Greenfield. You can give them a call at 414-282-4220. You can visit them online at bluemells.com. It's the place to go. If you've not been to Blue Mells, I encourage you to go there. They've got everything that you possibly could need for your garden. There's some protocol in which you have to follow because of the current situation that we're in. But Blue Mells Landscape and Garden Center.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com. Now here are your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. Thank you for tuning in this week. We always appreciate you tuning in. We always try to bring content that is valuable to you that you can apply to your garden right now. Also, a lot of content at our website, thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com. Well, this week, Neptune's Harvest is offering another giveaway. Holly, what are we going to win this week?
This week they are offering 1 gallon fish and seaweed blend, 1 4-pound bag of crab and lobster shell, 1 4-ounce best yet biting insect spray, also 1 t-shirt, 1 hat, 2 koozies, and 2 stickers. That's $150 value. This is open to listeners 18 years and older living in the contiguous United States. The prize will be shipped to you. The winner will be notified via email. And for more information, you can visit us at thewisconsinvegetablegardener.com and just click on the giveaway tab to enter and all that good information.
First, you go and send us an email at gardentalkradio@gmail.com, gardentalkradio@gmail.com. In the subject line, put enter me, and in the context box, you'll answer this question. What 3 categories do onions fall in? What categories do onions fall in? It has to do with the part of the country. I'll give you that much. This contest is open until Thursday, May 21st, 2020 at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. We're happy to have our next guest. He is the host of the YouTube channel, The Gardening Channel with James Prigioni. He took his New Jersey grass backyard on in 2012 and converted it into a food forest in a matter of a few years with passion and knowledge, and now producing hundreds of pounds of produce, as well as documenting this whole journey on his YouTube channel. Now with over 400,000 subscribers and 34 million views, welcome the host of the James Prigioni YouTube channel.
What's going on, Joey and Holly? Thanks for having me on.
Well, we greatly appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to join us on the program.
Oh, no problem.
So back in 2012, when your backyard was just grass, what was the vision to turn it into a food forest, and how did it come about? Did you expect it to get this massive?
Good question. Thank you. And originally the vision was to just, a little smaller scale than I had, because the dream was to move onto a bigger property in the future. And what I wanted to do was kind of test out the whole idea of a food forest and then see if it was actually scalable, if it was something that one person or a small amount of people could manage on a larger scale. So that's why I went with more of the perennial foundation, figuring if I could scale something like this up, that's what I wanted to do. And some of that came from the inspiration from Joel Salatin, because he was always a big inspiration to me. So I went and visited him and talked to him a little bit. I got to meet him. So that was really a huge thing that changed a lot of my life. So as time's gone on, the vision has changed a little bit. So not originally did I think it was going to be the whole backyard, but now I guess the vision has changed as things have grown.
Well, we've done this program 116 times now, and we've never used the word food forest. So for listeners who are new to that term, what is the difference between a garden and a food forest?
Oh, the difference between a garden and food forest, one of the simple differences would be a food forest is the foundation, and the main focus of it is in perennials, in fruiting perennials. So that's one of the main differences, and it's pretty simple to approach. It's basically just looking at a regular forest and replacing all those same elements or the same plants in those in a forest with fruiting things. So in regular forest, you have the 7 layers. We call them 7 layers, and we replace those 7 layers that you would have in a regular forest with fruiting species. So instead of having a wild bush growing in a forest, we have blueberries growing in a food forest, and then it just goes on with all different layers.
Now, you're in New Jersey. You don't have the greatest soil, so you brought wood chips in to create this food forest. Explain the procedure in growing in wood chips, because people see the Back to Eden method. They say, "Oh, we'll just throw some plants in some wood chips." That's not how it works in this whole procedure.
No. The wood chips it ties in with the whole idea of the food forest again, because the wood chips are more of a perennial fertilizer, and it works towards building soil in the future. So it's not something you're going to get instant gratification from. So it's one of those things where woody species and woody plants like trees and perennials, they tend to like having a thick woody mulch. That's just how it works. And typically your garden vegetables tend to have like a soil that's higher in biological material, things like compost and stuff. So with us being a foundation in perennials, the Back to Eden method of a thick wood mulch worked perfect with the perennials. So that's kind of how it all came together.
And when we talk about a food forest, for people who go over to the James Prigioni YouTube channel, you're growing, tomatoes near a peach tree or a pear tree. There's not this row of tomatoes, this row of beans. You're incorporating all of this stuff, intertwining almost like, polyculture, but on a much larger scale.
Yep, absolutely. Same thing if you were out walking in a regular forest, you would see if you were, a gap in sunlight. So same thing, my trees are pretty close, but there's gaps. So if I'm walking out there and I see a gap in sunlight, then I go out there and I have tomatoes and I'll transplant a tomato, plug that right into the soil, and then just cover it a little bit up with wood chips. But that's how I do it, just like you would kind of in a natural forest. It has more of a natural feel, and I get to fill the gaps. And a lot of people say, you're going to run out of space for annuals when the fruit trees get big, but that's kind of the idea. I'm working towards having those fruit trees. Those are going to be producing food to me in the future. I call those my food insurance. They're like my food security. And while I'm waiting for those fruit trees to produce, because it's going to take a little bit of time, I'm going to grow some annuals, some tomatoes, some peppers in the light in the space that I have. So I'm just trying to get the most out of space. That's why I like gardening in this small area, because I say small gardeners are the best gardeners, because you got to be creative.
And you talk about the small space. Now, on the YouTube channel, it looks like you could go in there and just spend days and enjoy it, and you never know, when you're going to exit the food forest. It's just this lovely experience that you take the camera in, and it just is magical to a certain level.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, that was the goal. It was like part of it was to create the idea was to create a living room, but not like a room not like a living room you hang out, but to an actual room that's like living, so you kind of can walk into it and escape as its own kind of oasis. And that's what a food forest sort of is. And it's fun because it's like a little paradise in the backyard in suburbia. So we call our little fruit forest like a little paradise in suburbia. And then it's a paradise for us, but it's also a paradise for all the birds and everything too. So it's funny. The backyard with the chickens and the birds, it looks like a bird sanctuary back there sometimes.
And now the question that many people have, and I have, is what does the neighbors think? Were they curious about this? Was there hesitation? Was there restrictions? Did people try to prevent you from doing this, or what was the story on that?
Well, the funny thing is, the one neighbor I have actually had fruit trees before I did. So he's the one that I've done some like the pawpaw videos that I mentioned. He's the one who has the pawpaws, and he's the one who has one of the old persimmon trees. So one of my neighbors, it lines right up, and his fence is almost connected to mine. So the food forest extends almost to another property. So it's pretty cool with that. The other neighbors around me, there's never been an issue or anything. I've been on this property for a pretty long time. So no one's ever said anything. We're pretty respectful of everybody. We try to keep it as relatively as neat as we can. Nothing is in the backyard that's growing that shouldn't be there. Everything is by design. Everything is there for a purpose and serves a purpose, and it serves a function. So I think that most people recognize that, and plus people like it when you have extra fruit and vegetables to share. So, that's always a nice bargaining chip.
The peace offering.
Exactly.
So now it's not just you working in your food forest. I know you talked about your neighbor in the area, but your dog is there, and your dog enjoys his share. Can you tell us more about your four-legged guarded companion?
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, the funny thing is the companion, he's the one who runs the channel and kind of does everything, and then he lets me kind of be the second guy. He's the lead, and people know it. And the thing, people like when I make the videos. Once I make the video, within the first couple comments, there's a timestamp where Tuck comes in. There'd be like 1 minute and 34 seconds when Tuck shows up. So I like to say he gives me a little while because he knows people are going to timestamp it anyways. But he's a little Yorkshire Terrier. He's been with me since the start, since we planted the first thing. He's always out there. Everyone calls him my shadow because he never leaves my side. So he's always right behind me. And it's funny because I'll be sitting down sometimes working on something inside, and he's the one who wants to, try to get something to get me outside. So he encouraged me to get out there and grow. And maybe more than anybody.
And from what I see, you can't just let him go wander off because he's going to harvest some things that you may not want him to harvest, and he's going to have his share whether you want him to or not.
Oh, absolutely. That's the funny thing. Some of the fencing is for him as much as it is for other things. Not because I'm worried of like him ripping stuff up. I'm worried of him eating everything. If I let him go, he'll eat the tops of the asparagus once they pop up, and he pulls the cucumbers right off the fence. So he doesn't just pull the cucumber; he'll pull the whole plant down with it. And then he's like a little kid sometimes. He'll grab one cucumber and eat a little bit, and then he'll move over to the next one and have a little bit of that one too.
Yeah. Whenever you're designing this, or whenever you're planning it, you continue to tweak this whole food forest. Is there anything that's not in the food forest that you are still trying to incorporate into it, or have you kind of really got it where you want it to be on the perennial side of it?
On the perennial side, I think I like for some of the things how it is, but my first food forest, I made a lot of mistakes and I learned so much from it. The new food forest is a lot better just because of some of the things I've learned, like perennial side, about getting the right fruit trees the first time, about putting out the extra money and getting the disease resistant ones. But now I'm blending this new style of that I'm going to be talking about more, this new style of like raised beds within the food forest to get this yield without messing with any of the roots of the fruit trees and stuff too. So the method in the food forest, my vision, it's always changing and it's always fluid, and that's why I think gardening is so much fun. And I try to never be a zealot in anything I'm doing. I mean, Joey, when I first started, it was like more of a completely natural farming method, and as time has gone on, I've blended the style a little more because I've just tried to blend what has worked, and I'm having more fun. There's always something every year, a different style of gardening that gets me exciting, and I think that's why I'm so passionate about it, and I'm just going to continue to, change with the times if that's what it is, as long as I'm enjoying it.
And that's the thing. You said you've learned about planting the right fruit trees the first or the second time. You should have knew that the first time. And it's called, the investment. We always talk about, people complain about the soil, that if you bring soil in, if you build this, it costs money up front. But the reward, and it's an investment that will pay your dividends over. Those fruit trees you've got there are there for 20, 30, 40 years that will continue to produce with no effort from you ever again.
Exactly. I was talking to someone about it the other day. I said, with the stock market and everything going down, it was better for me to invest in all the fruit trees and everything in the backyard than it would have been even invest in gold or anything. I've got that stuff there and no one could take it. And then as time's gone on, I heard something that really hit a strong chord in me, and why I invest in the fruit trees and everything in the garden now. They said, sometimes you got to focus on things on how much they are worth, not how much they cost. So sometimes the worth is higher than the cost. So sometimes maybe putting a fruit tree and spending $35 on something costs a lot. But if you can look at the worth throughout its lifetime, it's got a lot more value than it seems.
Now you're in zone 7. Is that correct in New Jersey?
Yeah, 7A.
What kind of fruit trees are we talking that you've got there that you found to be successful?
In 7A, for my location, the foundation of the fruit trees that do the best are pears. And one way I found that was I was just driving to work one day when I was working at a restaurant, and there was a pear tree that someone had planted. It was a Bartlett, and they had planted it years ago. It was just in the middle of the street, and it was producing with beautiful fruit on it. And so no one had taken care of it. No one was really managing it, and it was doing excellent. So our fruit trees do the best here, that are pears, and then the peaches we can get, those do pretty well. And then some apples, and then some of the plums are a little harder to get. But it's one of those things where it goes back again to getting the disease-resistant varieties, no matter what they are, the first time. Because if you don't get the right tree, it'll make a world of difference for you.
Well, it's definitely very important to know for growers of all areas of the region. Now, how can we find out more about you and your YouTube channel and all of your great information?
You can find me over at YouTube, James Prigioni. You could just probably type that in, or you could just probably type in James Prigioni on Google. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. So YouTube's more my home grounds. That's mainly where I'm hanging out.
And you just type in gardening, you're going to find the James Prigioni channel. You've got millions of views, hundreds of videos of great content that everybody can, even the best gardeners in the world, glean off of other gardeners. And that's what the basis of YouTube for the gardening community is all about, to share information.
Absolutely. I learned some of my best stuff from my fellow YouTubers, and everyone's got something to share. And experience is always good. So some people have been doing something for years, while others have been doing something different for years. And a lot of that experience is thing. And knowledge is only, worth it when you actually start applying it. And when people apply it and then they've had experience from it and can share it, I think that's where the true value and worth comes from. And that's why I think all of us love YouTube so much.
Absolutely. Well, and we greatly appreciate you taking time out of your day to not only join Holly and myself, but enlighten and educate all of our listeners from across the country.
Thanks for having me on, Joey. Thanks, Holly.
You can bet the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardeners phone lines are always jammed during the show. So Joey and Holly keep their phone lines open 24/7 to help you. Call anytime 24/7. Just dial 1-800-927-7469. Or just remember 1-800-927-SHOW. SHOW. Leave a message and they will call you back.
The new way to support your tomatoes. Wrap it and snap it. TomatoSnaps.com.
Make watering easy. DripWorks provides quality drip irrigation supplies and equipment to gardeners just like you for all your growing needs across the U.S. and Canada. Purchase online at dripworks.com.
Dreaming of a lush green lawn and abundant garden? Not sure what products you need? Check with Chapin. From sprayers to spreaders to fertilizer injectors and greener gardening options, Chapin offers the products you need to weed and feed your lawn and garden. Feed your plants every time you water with Chapin's HydroFeed fertilizer injector. Weed a greener way with Chapin's horticultural vinegar sprayer. Check with Chapin. Visit www.chapinmfg.com. Seed Savers Exchange has been saving, preserving, and sharing heirloom seeds since 1975, and today continues to provide those seeds to gardeners just like you. With 600-plus varieties offered in this year's catalog and 18,000 listings on their exchange, their gardener-to-gardener seed swap, Seed Savers Exchange is keeping cherished seed varieties alive. Visit seedsavers.org to request a free catalog or to purchase seeds online for this year's growing season. That's seedsavers.org.
Do not go anywhere. There is more of the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show to come, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com.
Looking to kill weeds without using dangerous chemicals like glyphosate? An all-natural weed killer may be just what you're looking for. Green Gobbler's Vinegar Weed Killer is a concentrated herbicide derived naturally from corn. It's 4 times stronger than regular table vinegar, so it packs a punch against all kinds of pesky weeds. Use Green Gobbler's Vinegar Weed Killer to safely kill dandelions, crabgrass, clover, ivy, and more. It's perfect for driveways, pavers, fence lines, and other outdoor surfaces. Green Gobbler Vinegar Weed Killer is an effective and powerful herbicide, but it doesn't stop there. It's also certified for organic use, so when used properly, it won't negatively affect soil or wildlife. Since Green Gobbler's Vinegar Weed Killer is pure vinegar with no other additives, pet owners can let their pets out to play right after application. Search for Green Gobbler Vinegar Weed Killer on Amazon.com today. We offer a hassle-free money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose.
Conserve water, save time, reduce runoff, eco-friendly. Visit waterhoop.com.
The number one key to healthy, productive plants are the roots. Starting from seed to full-grown plants, rootmaker.com has the answer. From seed starting trays with an innovative design that air prunes the roots, creating a fabulous root system, never again will you have root-bound plants. To multiple gallon grow bag sizes to raised beds, rootmaker.com has your grow needs covered. Visit rootmaker.com. Use coupon code TWVG at checkout and get 10% off your entire order. The Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show is brought to you by the following: Power Planter Earth Augers, Ivy Organics, Rootmaker, Pomona Universal Pectin, Chapin Manufacturing Incorporated, Pro Plugger, Tomato Snaps, world's coolest floating rain gauge. Find all sponsors at the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and thank them for their support.
Now back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show, which is presented to you by Power Planter Earth Augers, the official digging tool. To find the right size for your digging project, visit powerplanter.com. Now here are your hosts, Joey and Holly Baird.
Welcome back to the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener Radio Show. We've got questions of yours that we are going to answer. If you've got a question, you can submit it at gardentalkradio@gmail.com. gardentalkradio@gmail.com. Holly, what's the question we have to begin with?
We started tomato plants by seed. They came up. They look good. Now they are not real green and the bottom leaves are dying. We watered the plants from the bottom, used grow lights, potted the soil. The seeds were new. We also packed the soil down as you suggested before planting. I hope there's something we can do for these plants.
Well, the bottom leaves, that's the seed leaves. That's normal for those to change color and die off. Those are called the, what is those called, Holly? Cotyledon leaves? They're going to dry up and fall off. If the other leaves are changing color, then you have a lack of nitrogen in the soil. What you need to do is get a liquid fertilizer, a Neptune Harvest, a Dr. Jim's, and supplement your plants to feed them in order to get that green back in the plants so you can have good seedlings to put outside. And then you bottom water, like you said, you put water in the bottom of the base and let it wick up as the plants require, but not let them set in that moisture for a long period of time. Otherwise, you're going to have root fungal problems. You're going to have root rot. You're going to have a lot of issues. So that would hopefully help you. I noticed that on our golden nugget tomatoes that we do have some curling on those, and I'm not sure why that is. And we may choose not to use those plants in our garden, in our transplanting. We may just ditch them because there's no sense of trying to baby a plant throughout the whole growing season if it didn't start off very well at all.
Winter has been long, but it's finally spring. It's time to order some plants, seeds, new planter pots, and maybe a wind chime or two. Now is the perfect time to bring your garden back to life. When you get ready to work in your garden, you always forget to buy something. This year, don't let the mosquitoes remind you.
Holly and I are excited to host a Spartan Mosquito giveaway for 3 listeners each week to win some product by Spartan Mosquito. We will announce the winners at the end of each week on Facebook. Enter to win by emailing gardentalkradio@gmail.com. In the subject line, put winner. You must be 18 years or older, living in the contiguous United States where products are state approved. Radio show and podcast listeners are eligible. For all details, go to the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com and click on the Spartan Mosquito tab at the top of the page. This week's contest ends Friday, May 22nd, 2020 at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can claim your prize as soon as it is announced on Facebook. If you do not claim your prize within 5 days, we will announce a new winner. Thank you, Spartan Mosquito, for participating with the Wisconsin Vegetable Gardener for this giveaway to our listeners.
So John asks, I have seen some where people have purchased what is called garden paper for weed control. It comes in rolls of 3 feet by 100 feet. Is this just as effective as cardboard? And do the worms treat it as they would cardboard? Like, do they eat it, break it down?
Well, this is kind of like, I would label it as like a butcher paper on a very long roll. The benefit to this is it's not as thin as, it's not as thick as the cardboard. It lets water and air circulate through it. And at the end of the season, the farmer or the gardener can just till it under it. It will biodegrade. It's not, it costs money. Cardboard is free. Cardboard is thicker. It doesn't allow the water to, go through it. It doesn't allow the, air to go through it.
Because with garden paper, the water will go through it.
Yes, yeah.
So I think you kind of have to determine what you're trying to do with it. So if you're trying to suppress weeds, will it work? Yes. Will cardboard work? Yes. But if you're trying to let the water go through it, then maybe something like garden paper is what you need.
And the worms with our cardboard, when you flip the cardboard up, the worms are just a number, dozens of them underneath feeding off of that in that moist environment. Leon writes in, I've had a rain barrel for about 3 years now. Do I need to do any maintenance to it, or can I leave it alone until it falls apart? I've noticed as recently there's been a swampy, rather disgusting smell coming from the water. Should I drain it and clean it, or does it hurt the plants if I just use that water? My barrel is of the round kind, around 55 gallons, non-transparent or translucent, and not in direct sunlight. Thank you. Well, you do not have to do anything to it but drain it in the winter, Leon, and then you can scrub it out and clean it then. It's not going to hurt the plants, the algae or that smelly water. That's not going to hurt anything. What you have going on there, you have bacteria occurring in that rain barrel because that water has not been used regularly. So you want to be more regular use of that to cycle that water through. Now, you could do a little maintenance on that water if you're planning on holding on to it and using it only in emergency. Chlorine bleach will kill the algae and most of the smell, and it will evaporate out of the water and will not hurt the plants. If you want to if you really want to clean it out and scrub it out, you could do that as well. You could also add cedar oil or cedar chips to the barrel, or you can add 1 cup of vinegar to the barrel, a full barrel of water, and this will mess with the pH of the barrel and enough to where it'll change the pH and the barrel will not smell because it'll kill the bacteria. So hopefully that will help you in your rain barrel situation. Again, rain barrels, you move that water, use it, let it fill back up, use it. But if it just sits there stagnant, it's like going to have some algae, going to have some smell, but again, not going to hurt your plants at all unless you have very sensitive like house plants. But I wouldn't use that type of water on your house plants. But your typical garden plants, not a worry in the world. Go ahead and use it. That bacteria, that algae, it's actually good for the plants, and it's good for the soil as well. Well, we are out of time, and we certainly thank you for yours. Miss any portion of this show or want to revisit it, you can certainly do that by going to the WisconsinVegetableGardener.com website and clicking on the Radio Season 4 tab at the top of the page. Or you can send us an email at gardentalkradio@gmail.com, and we will send you the link for this show and past shows if you request it. You can find all of that on our site. Tell your friends and tell your family that this show exists. That's how we get our message shared with the gardening community. Join us next week on the program. We'll be talking about the best way to plant trees for success on your property, as well as several chemicals that we would advise not to use on your property, and we'll tell you the reasons why. As well as our guest will be worm expert and author Bruce Galley. We will also answer your garden questions. So until next week, for
Holly Baird,
I'm Joy Baird, and we will see you in the garden.